June 2, 2007. A quiet Saturday evening in Overland Park, Kansas. She walked into a Target store, just another teenage girl buying a small gift for her boyfriend. 90 minutes later, her car was found abandoned. Keys shoved under the seat. Gift still wrapped. Driver missing. What happened in between would become one of the most haunting mysteries in modern American crime. The disappearance of Kelsey Smith. Kelsey Ann Smith wasn't the kind of girl who got lost in the crowd. Born on May 3, 1989, in Johnson County, Kansas, she was bright, witty, and full of energy. The kind of light that fills every room she walks into. She played clarinet in her high school marching band, worked part-time at the AMC Theater, and had just graduated from Shawnee Mission West High. At only 18, she was standing on the edge of her future, college in the fall, dreams of becoming a veterinarian, and a boyfriend she adored. But fate had other plans. That evening began like any other. Kelsey worked her shift, clocked out, and met her dad Greg, a police officer, and her sister Lindsay at an amusement park. It was a day of laughter and sunlight, the kind you never think will be your last. But as the sun dipped behind the horizon, the story shifted. At 6 p.m., Kelsey told her dad she was heading to Target to buy a gift for her boyfriend. Her sister didn't feel like going, so Kelsey went alone. Before she left, she hugged her father and told him she loved him. Neither of them knew those would be her final words. At 7 p.m., Kelsey called her mom, Missy, who was driving home from a wedding. Just a normal conversation. They planned to meet later that night. But later never came. When her boyfriend John arrived at the Smith house, Kelsey wasn't there. Her phone went unanswered. Greg's instincts, honed by years as a cop, began to twist into dread. John and Lindsay drove from lot to lot, searching. Then, they found it. Kelsey's car. Not in the Target parking lot, but in a dimly lit corner near another store. Inside were the shopping bags, wrapping paper, and a gift for John. But no Kelsey. The keys were shoved beneath the seat, and a scrap of fabric poked from the trunk. Greg, torn between cop and father, told them not to touch anything. This was a crime scene. The police arrived quickly, no blood, no struggle, just one unidentified fingerprint on the seatbelt. That print would soon tell the whole story. Detectives went straight to Target. The store was closed, but staff opened the doors. On camera, there she was, walking through aisles, picking a gift, calm, unaware. Then, she stepped into the parking lot, loaded her bags, and climbed into her car. Seconds later, the vehicle rolled away, but in the wrong direction. Was she driving, or was someone forcing her? By morning, Greg and Missy were questioned, standard procedure. Then came John, hours of interrogation. But his story never broke. He loved her. He was innocent. The real monster was still out there. Though detectives had cleared John, they kept him on the list. Meanwhile, Greg couldn't sit still. He knew, in abductions, every hour matters. He and Missy launched their own search, printing flyers, pleading on radio stations. Soon, Kelsey's face was everywhere, on TV, in shop windows, on street poles. Hundreds joined the search. But hope was fragile. Greg knew what every cop knows, most abductions end in tragedy. Back at Target, detectives replayed the footage again, closer, slower. That's when they saw it. As Kelsey entered her car, a shadow lunged behind her. A door slammed. 15 seconds later, the car drove off. She hadn't left alone. She had been taken. Frame by frame, the truth appeared. A man in a white t-shirt and dark shorts, not shopping, not browsing. Stalking. Wherever Kelsey went, he followed. When she stopped, he waited. When she left, he slipped out first. The hunter had chosen his prey. The footage was released. Calls flooded in, 1,000 leads, but no answers. The man remained a ghost. Meanwhile, Greg and Missy lived in agony. Days turned to nights, hope turned to fear. Then, a breakthrough. Kelsey's phone pinged near Longview Lake, Missouri, 15 miles from target. Within hours, the FBI joined in. 200 people combed the woods, searching every inch. Then came the call no parent wants. Under a thin layer of leaves, they found her. For days after she vanished, Kelsey's body was discovered. She'd been strangled with her own belt. The motive, sexual. Her killer, still free. Detectives reviewed the footage again. At 9:17 p.m., Kelsey's Buick appeared in the lot where it was found. Minutes later, a man sprinted through the dark and leapt into a pickup truck. At 9:22, it sped away. Rewind the tape, that same truck had arrived just 1 minute before Kelsey. She had unknowingly parked beside her predator. Soon, the calls started again, this time with names. 2 people recognized the man. Both said the same thing. Edwin Hall. A 26-year-old husband and father. Owner of a dark pickup truck. A man with a violent past. At 15, he'd once held a knife to his sister's throat. Now, police believed he had graduated to murder. When officers arrived at his home, Hall was packing bags, ready to flee. But he never got the chance. Arrested on the spot, he denied everything. Claimed he didn't even know Kelsey. But the fingerprint told the truth. When confronted, he broke. Hall confessed. He had followed Kelsey through the aisles, forced her into her car, and driven her to the woods. He strangled her with her own belt, hid her body under leaves, and abandoned the car to buy himself time. He thought he'd erased his tracks. But one fingerprint exposed him completely. On paper, Edwin Hall looked ordinary, a husband, a father, a man with a steady job. But behind that mask was something monstrous, someone capable of destroying a family in minutes. For Greg and Missy, his confession was both relief and devastation. They finally knew the truth, but nothing could bring their daughter home. One day, she was laughing at an amusement park. The next, she was gone forever. In September 2008, Hall stood before a jury, charged with capital murder, kidnapping, and sexual assault. He broke down, said he was sorry. But his words meant nothing. The jury found him guilty on all counts. The judge sentenced him to life without parole. Justice was served, but justice doesn't heal. Greg and Missy had learned how slow the system could be. It had taken 4 days for Kelsey's phone company to release her data. 4 days wasted. When police finally got it, they found her in less than an hour. That delay haunted them. So they turned pain into purpose. Together, they fought for a law, one that would let police access a missing person's cell phone immediately, without waiting for paperwork. They called it the Kelsey Smith Act. In 2009, Kansas passed it. Then, other states followed. Today, over 20 states have versions of that law, saving lives when every second counts. Greg and Missy are still fighting to make it federal, so no other family will endure what they did. Kelsey Smith should have been 34 today. Her story could have been one of dreams and laughter, but instead, it became one of strength and legacy. Because evil stole her life, but it could not silence her voice. Through the law that bears her name, Kelsey Smith still speaks, for every daughter who never made it home, and every parent who still waits in the dark. When she left that evening, she hugged her father and said, "I love you." Those were her last words, and her everlasting echo. Evil may have taken her breath, but it will never take her legacy. Kelsey Smith still saves lives. 1. Evil often hides behind ordinary faces. Evil doesn't always look like a monster. Sometimes, it wears the face of a neighbor, a coworker, or a smiling stranger in a store. Kelsey's story reminds us that darkness can hide in plain sight, and awareness is our first defense. Always trust your instincts. Stay alert. Protect yourself and the people around you. 2. In a crisis, every second counts. For days, that's how long it took to release one crucial piece of phone data. For days that could have changed everything. Kelsey's death exposed how precious time truly is when lives are on the line. Her story teaches us the importance of quick action, strong systems, and never accepting wait when urgency is needed. 3. Love can turn grief into legacy. Greg and Missy Smith lost their daughter, but they refused to lose her meaning. Through pain, they built purpose. Through loss, they created the Kelsey Smith Act, saving countless lives. Their courage shows that even in the darkest tragedy, love can become light. And that one family's strength can protect an entire nation.